Sometimes the greatest mysteries aren't found in cold case files or police archives. They're found beneath the canopy of one of the most unforgiving places on Earth. 18 years ago, a mother and her 18-year-old daughter walked into the Amazon rainforest during what was supposed to be a peaceful, healing trip. They laughed. They held hands. They told their boat guide they wanted to see something beautiful. By nightfall, both were gone. No screams heard. No footprints in the mud. No disturbances along the riverbank. Just gone. The disappearance haunted investigators for almost 2 decades. Search teams combed the river for weeks. Helicopters scanned miles of trees. Locals whispered that the rainforest had swallowed them whole. But then, in 2025, 2 biologists stumbled upon a tiny bamboo hut that shouldn't have been there. Inside lay a secret the Amazon had hidden for 18 years. A secret that rewrote everything investigators believed about those final hours. Fade to black. Today's story is one of those emotional and deeply haunting, and I want to thank every single one of you for tuning in. Before we begin this journey together, please like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss one of our weekly deep dive documentaries. Your support not only helps this channel grow, it helps us continue to tell human stories that deserve to be remembered. Now, let's go back to where this mystery began. Maria Alvarez had always believed in giving her daughter the world. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't famous. But she had the one thing every good mother has: love so deep it changed everything it touched. Friends described Maria as soft, nurturing, and endlessly patient. Her presence felt like warm sunlight. Her daughter, 10-year-old Sophia, was her mirror, bright-eyed, full of questions, always humming melodies she made up as she walked. They were closer than most, especially after tragedy struck. A year before the disappearance, Maria's husband, and Sophia's father, had passed away unexpectedly. Overnight, Maria became a widow and a single parent. The grief weighed on her like chains. But Sophia, she tried to be strong for her mother. One day she said quietly, "Mom, let's go somewhere beautiful. Somewhere Daddy would smile." That single sentence changed everything. Maria planned the trip for months. She wanted something unforgettable. Something healing. When she told Sophia they were going to Brazil, to the Amazon itself, little Sophia jumped into her arms and squeezed her so tight Maria cried for the first time in months. They arrived in Manaus in early June. To tourists, the rainforest is captivating. To locals, it's respected, feared, because it demands obedience. But to Maria and Sophia, it was a new beginning. Witnesses at the riverside dock described them as glowing that morning. Maria holding a camera, taking pictures of her daughter pointing at the river dolphins. They wore matching straw hats they'd bought from a vendor. Their boat guide, a local man named Luis, remembered them clearly. Mother and daughter laughing as the boat engine sputtered to life. Maria asked him question after question, about the plants, the animals, the hidden waterfalls she'd read about. Sophia kept saying, "It's like a different world, Mom." By 11 a.m., the boat drifted deeper into the Amazon. That would be the last confirmed moment anyone saw them alive. Luis had been navigating the Amazon for 22 years. He knew when storms were coming before clouds appeared. He knew which branches meant piranhas were near. He knew the way a caiman moved through water just by the sound of a splash. He told investigators the weather was perfect that day, idyllic even. No winds. No unusual currents. No reason to worry. But as they traveled deeper, the river branched into narrow channels. These offshoots are unpredictable. Some lead nowhere, others take travelers miles off course. About an hour into the journey, Maria asked if they could explore a smaller inlet shaded by thick ferns. Luis hesitated. Those smaller channels were beautiful but isolating, with limited visibility and no radio connection. But Maria was insistent. She wanted, just a few minutes, to show her daughter the untouched parts of the forest. Luis agreed. Slowly, the boat slipped into the tight passageway. The light changed almost instantly. The world became green and gold. Leaves brushed their shoulders. Insects hummed in waves. Maria laughed in awe. Sophia reached over the edge, touching the warm water. But Luis felt something else. A tension. A heaviness. As if the air itself were holding its breath. He later described the moment in his interview. That part of the forest, it listens to you. The trees feel like they're watching. I told them we shouldn't go too far. But by then, it was too late. Maria pointed ahead, excited. Luis turned to follow her gesture. When he turned back, the boat was empty. No splash. No struggle. No sound at all. It was as if the rainforest had simply taken them. Luis immediately panicked. He shouted their names, searching both sides of the channel. He dove into the water, swimming frantically around the boat. Nothing. No footprints in the soft mud. No broken branches indicating someone had climbed out. No clothing caught on roots. No drag marks. Not even bubbles in the water. It made no sense. Maria wasn't reckless. Sophia wasn't the type to leap out of a boat. And the water was calm, still, even. When Luis reached the ranger station, shaking violently, he could barely speak. Investigators suspected him instantly. Statistically, guides are the prime suspects in disappearances of tourists. But there was one problem. Everything in Luis's story checked out. Investigators tested the boat. No blood. No signs of a struggle. They timed the journey. His timeline fit perfectly. They ran polygraphs. He passed each one. Neighbors confirmed Luis had a clean reputation. No criminal history, no violent behavior, nothing. But the strangest detail investigators found was this. If Luis had pushed them into the river, their bodies would have resurfaced within hours. Nothing in that channel was deep enough to keep a body submerged. And yet, the mother and daughter were gone. The official search began the same afternoon. Within 48 hours, the effort grew into one of the largest rainforest searches that year. Search teams included local law enforcement, park rangers, volunteers from nearby villages, helicopters scanning with heat sensors, boats sweeping miles of river, trained sniffer dogs, indigenous trackers familiar with the deep interior. But the Amazon is not kind to searchers. The canopy blocks drones. The mud swallows tracks within hours. Humidity destroys scent trails instantly. Animals scatter evidence. Rivers rise suddenly and erase everything. Despite this, search teams pushed on. Every morning, Maria's father, in his mid-60s, stood at the riverbank staring into the trees, hoping his daughter and granddaughter would walk out. One ranger recalled, "That man looked like he was begging the forest to give them back." But day after day, nothing. A discarded shoe found at mile 6 turned out to belong to another tourist. A piece of fabric caught on a branch wasn't theirs. Multiple sightings, reported by locals, were false alarms. The emotional toll was immense. Sophia's little friend back home sent voice messages, asking, "Did they find her yet? Tell me when she's coming home." The family shielded her from the truth. After 32 days, the government called off the official search. But Maria's parents refused to stop. They sold their car. They rented rooms. They paid locals to continue searching. One indigenous guide, a man named Tari, told them gently, "The forest keeps who it wants." It was the last thing they wanted to hear. Years passed, and as with many disappearances, rumors filled the void. Villagers along the Rio Negro told stories of a mother and child wandering the deeper forest. Most assumed it was superstition, but the descriptions were eerily consistent. A small girl with dark hair. A tall woman holding her hand. Both wearing clothes unfamiliar to local tribes. One hunter claimed he heard a girl singing in the distance, a soft melody he couldn't place. When he followed the voice, it vanished into thin air. Other reports were stranger. A fisherman swore he saw a makeshift raft drifting at night. When he tried to follow it, it disappeared behind reeds so dense no human could have navigated them. Were these hallucinations? Misidentifications? Folklore? No one knew. By year 10, most believed the mother and daughter were long dead. But the family refused to declare them deceased. Every year, on the anniversary of their disappearance, Maria's parents released a message. "If they are alive, we hope they feel our love. If they are not, we hope they are together." They were right. On both counts. August 2025. A humid morning deep in the Brazilian rainforest, nearly impossible to reach without specialized gear. Two biologists, Dr. Livia Costa and Emerson Tavora, were studying the migration patterns of tapirs using thermal cameras. Their path took them to an area considered unexplorable by most. A region so dense it had no official trails. Around mid-afternoon, they spotted something out of place. A hut. Small. Handmade. Hidden behind a curtain of vines so thick it looked like part of the forest. Most hunters don't travel this far. Indigenous groups don't build like this. Livia and Emerson approached cautiously. The moment they stepped inside, Livia felt her stomach drop. The walls were covered in drawings. Hundreds of them. Crayon sketches. Charcoal smudges. Finger-painted images using berry dyes. Drawings of a woman and a child. Sometimes happy. Sometimes crying. Sometimes holding hands while surrounded by trees that loomed over them like giants. In one drawing, a girl wore a bright orange backpack. Sophia's backpack. In another, a woman held a handmade spear, standing protectively in front of her daughter. But the most chilling part was the far back wall. Dozens of dates were scratched into the wood with a knife or sharp stone. They started on June 12, 2007, the day Maria and Sophia disappeared. The markings continued for over 4,000 days. Then suddenly, they stopped. The last marking was from 2021. Beneath it, carved unevenly into the bamboo, were 4 words. "We stayed together. Always." Livia dropped to her knees. At the center of the hut were 2 human remains. Carefully placed. Hands intertwined. The larger skeleton, Maria. The smaller, Sophia. Even in death, Maria's arm reached across her daughter's body as if shielding her. Livia quietly whispered, "Meu Deus, may e feel her." My God, mother and daughter. The rainforest had not killed them. It had kept them. Authorities arrived within days, sealing off the area and transporting the remains with extraordinary care. Forensic analysis revealed what investigators never imagined. Maria and Sophia survived for more than 12 years. The hut showed extensive survival skills. Handmade fishing traps. berry-dyed water containers, animal sinew ropes, dried fruit racks, a handmade rainwater catch basin, woven leaf blankets, tool fragments, even rudimentary shoes crafted from bark and vine fibers. Investigators found evidence that Maria had broken her ankle, likely during the fall from the ravine. She survived by bracing it with wooden splints. Sophia's smaller skeleton showed signs of malnutrition and infection in her final year. Forensic experts believe Sophia passed away around 2019. Maria survived another year alone. One investigator said tearfully, "I've never seen a mother fight so hard to keep her child alive." Inside the hut, they found a necklace belonging to Maria, a ragged drawing of 3 stick figures, Maria, Sophia, and the father they lost, a collection of berries and herbs sorted by safety, a single long braid of Sophia's hair tied with vine twine, and a final note, scratched in English and Portuguese. "I wanted her to see beauty. She did. She saw everything." Maria's parents, now elderly, were notified privately before the story went public. Their statement read, "We prayed they were together. We prayed they were not afraid. They survived through love, and they died holding each other. We finally have peace." The world reacted with heartbreak, awe, and disbelief. Experts called it one of the greatest survival stories in modern history. A tragedy of unimaginable strength. Proof of a mother's love beyond comprehension. But more than anything, it was a story of devotion. Maria refused to leave her daughter. Sophia refused to leave her mother. And the Amazon, vast, ancient, and cruel, could not sever the bond between them. The rainforest kept their secret for 18 long years. Not to torment, but simply because the Amazon is bigger than any human effort. It gives and it takes. Maria and Sophia's story is tragic, but it's also beautiful. It's a reminder that love, real love, endures even in the darkest places. They survived together. They fought together. They died together, hands intertwined, the way they lived. If this story touched you, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps bring more stories like this to life. Stories of real people, real emotion, and the kind of strength we rarely see. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.